Okay, so here we are at Extreme Rhythm Dance. I don't know, these are the questions.
Yeah, I read them.
You read them? Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to read them again. This is Jessica, thank you so much for helping us do this. All right, now, we can follow the questions, or if you have stuff you just want to say.
You go by the questions.
Okay, all right, so when I asked you to teach Jake private lessons, and I told you he had autism, do you remember what your first reaction was?
Yes, I do, because I had never taught. Jake was actually my first student with special needs, but I had, like, a few years prior to that, I had worked at a camp, and in their, like, groups of ages, there were some kids in that group that had special needs, so I already had, like...
I just want to make sure it started. Can you see?
Yeah.
It's on?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So I had already kind of worked
With someone.
but only in like a group setting. I haven't ever done it like in a private. So I was like, yeah, like I think I could do this. It just depends on like what he's looking for, like how I can cater to it. Obviously I didn't know like Jake at all. I didn't know if he could speak or if he could not speak. So I was like, that was my first reaction. Like, yeah, like I feel comfortable doing this. I've done it before in a group setting, so why not do it as a private?
Okay, cool. Do you remember once you met him, do you remember what you thought, like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Or he doesn't speak that much, so how am I gonna...
I remember meeting him. I remember the first time I met him. I think I did like too much.
At the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I don't know, I guess in my head I would rather, because like I don't want to give them too little.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized, okay, he's capable of this, he's not capable of that. He's capable of this, okay, this is how he responds. Like now, I understand how he communicates. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I remember.
I mean, do you find it like, let's say when Peggy's here with him and you're telling him, all right, Jake, put your hands up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only like bringing them up to his shoulders. But then Peggy will yell across and go, Jake, put your arms up. And then he will. Like, how do you...
There are certain things that he will listen to. I don't know if he just decides to like pick and choose things, like things that he wants to do or things that he doesn't want to do. Like for instance, like when we stretch and I'll say head to the right, to the left. He'll just look at me and he'll just be like, here.
A little bit, right?
Here. But then like he'll do jumps when I say to jump, or if I say to slide, he'll do the slide. So I don't know if he just picks and chooses,
Right.
but
you know, there's a whole brain-body disconnect
Right.
with autism. So I'm even learning about more of this lately. So sometimes I think it's not a matter of making the decision, but maybe it's his brain is going, yes, I want my head to turn to the right, but it's not turning.
Physically not turning.
Right,
Yeah.
so...
Like he's physically capable of a lot of the things,
Right.
not all of them.
Right, I agree. And sometimes, right, you know, he's a big guy, so
Yeah.
touching his toes,
It's hard.
hard and not his favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yep, I get that too.
Now when he did, okay, let me stick with the questions and then I have something else that came to mind. All right, do you recall if you adjusted your language or your tone when you were speaking to him to like kind of change the outcome?
I feel like in the very beginning, I spoke to him like, I don't want to like say it like as I would speak to someone that has special needs, but I feel like I talk to him normal now.
Okay, like maybe you spoke to him more childlike?
Yes.
When you first met him, because right, it's difficult if you're talking to him, he's not responding, you kind of don't really know.
No.
Does he understand?
Yes.
And
But
he's not
working with
answering?
him for so long, he understands me.
Right.
So I don't talk to him like a child, like I would for some other people that I do.
Do you remember when he started here? I was trying to think of how long
Yes,
ago
it was I think it was 2016.
Wow,
I
okay.
think.
He started ballroom in 2017, so that sounds right.
Yeah.
It's a long
I
time.
think it was 2016.
Right? All right.
Yeah.
Can you explain any differences you've noticed in how Jake follows your verbal requests versus your physical prompting?
I'm gonna say verbal as in music, because he responds better to music
Right.
than he does physically. Like, we've gotten to a point where he hears a certain song and he knows what to do.
Right. But now if you say to him, let's say you're teaching him a new step, and you say, Jake, step to your right.
He needs to physically do it. it.
Right, or if you do it in front of him or next to him, and you actually show him, is that better?
No.
Well, not necessarily.
He needs to physically do it.
And if he doesn't understand or
Then
doesn't do it?
It takes a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you-
Visually, I think it takes a while. Physically, I think it's easier for him to pick up
Okay.
on something.
Okay, which, that
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which I'm the same way. I'm a physical learner. Like
Right.
dancers, I need to like actually physically do it.
Do it to
understand
understand it. I'm right there with you. Now I know you've worked with other students, but we'll
Mhm.
stick with the, how do you feel about teaching other individuals with special needs now versus before you met Jake?
I feel more confident now.
Right?
Jake's
Which is
like
great.
kind of set the tone.
Right, right.
of it.
And I remember, right, that you had like two people, I think,
Yeah.
together, Jake and a girl for a while. They did a little, I want to say it was maybe a Downs girl. I don't remember her name. But if you had other students similar,
Mhm.
you would be open to
Oh,
teaching
yeah.
a class or a
Mhm.
couple. I mean, I would love for more people to do it, especially like to do it with him, but it's not everybody's thing, and
Yeah.
I get it. It's not easy. Like some individuals, they're so good at different things.
Mhm.
You know, somebody can bowl like really, really well, but can't do one step of a dance.
Right.
You know, so trying to find. We always knew music was really Jake's thing.
Right.
So introducing the dance to it just kind of made it.
Sense.
All right, so that kind of answered the next thing. You would be open to it. I had two thoughts. What do you think about the fact that when you do the line dance, I'm gonna say it's probably the cha-cha slide
Mhm.
because it's got the cha-cha in it. So when the cha-cha comes and he doesn't do it versus he does the cha-cha at ballroom all the time and
Right.
perfectly. Does that make any sense to you, or do you think there might be another way to get him to be able to do it here as well?
That's interesting because the cha-cha slide, he's actually telling you what to do. Slide to the left,
Right,
slide to the right, crisscross, da, da,
right.
cha-cha. So sometimes, if he's focused.
Will he actually do the cha-cha
Yeah.
step with you?
He just does the arms.
Just the arms?
Just the
okay.
arms.
Now, what do you think too about him doing his arms and his feet? Like, I think I've seen him do some of the dances
Mhm.
where if he's focused on,
Yes, if he's focused, he can.
he can do both.
Yes, he can, if he's focused.
Right, but if not, I know sometimes like with his arms, somebody doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But if you're in front of him doing, you know, arms up, let's say, and he'll at least attempt it,
Right.
but then I've seen him just be doing his own thing.
The only, he does jumping jacks really well.
Okay.
That's feet and arms at the same time.
And his arms are all the way up now, right?
They're getting,
Okay.
I have to
Better?
like,
They're better?
I have to get on him. I have to
Okay,
get on him. He knows.
right,
He knows
But-
that his arms can get higher.
right.
Sometimes
So if you verbally say to him, you
I have
know,
to be like this, I actually will point to his feet. Get those feet up, get those toes up the floor, and then he
and then he'll do that. All right, cool. And then, let's say the line dance. So when you've taught him now, I know he knows several of them. How did you find teaching him that, like where it was very specific?
So I felt it was easy. He
Okay.
remembers the order. Like it's
Right.
like for instance, there's like a song that we do. It's called Up and Down. So it's a little bit of them like listening to the song. It's the same thing as the cha-cha slide. It says up and down, so he knows it's up and down, up and down. And then I taught him specific dance moves that go before it and after it. So then he hears the music and he knows that it's dun 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 dun. So that was easy. He picked up on that so fast, and he like remembers the full song and he does it by himself.
Okay, okay.
As if it's like a
good.
routine.
And that too, I think he's able to generalize it somewhat. Like if we're at a party, we're at a
Mhm.
wedding, we're at a bar mitzvah, which you've actually seen that happen, which was very funny. Sometimes he can and sometimes he can't. And I'm wondering if you think, like, what do you think about that? Like,
I think if you're talking about like people,
right, like
I
if
think
there's a lot
I don't
of people
think
in
he
the
can
room.
focus a lot when
Right.
there's a lot of people. I
Okay.
think he's enjoying it, but I don't think he can focus enough to actually like think about doing 3 things at once.
Right,
Like he's
right.
a very matter of fact one thing at
At
a
a
time.
time. Okay, and of course we know how much he loves the mirror.
Oh yeah, he loves her.
Right? All right, I mean, I think those are my questions. Do you have anything
Yeah.
else you'd want to add or tell anybody, tell people in the community, like, you know, how to get more people? I think sometimes people are afraid to try.
Yeah, it's
You know,
fear.
They're like, oh, I don't think my son or my daughter could do this.
Yeah.
I think you're open though to, if anybody wanted to come, no matter what their ability or disability is, you would be welcome.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
So now, being that Jake was my first, I think I have like 10 clients now.
Wow.
And they range from like all over age, gender, spectrum, like all of it.
Oh, that's excellent. Are they all
So-
individual lessons?
One of the groups is 3 girls.
Okay.
Everyone else is individual. There's actually a gentleman that comes right after Jake. He doesn't have autism or Downs, and I don't know what he has, but he's pretty much like same level as Jake,
So
like physically wise.
what do you think if we tried to
You know,
put
I thought
them?
about it because they always cross paths with each other, and I always go, Jake, say hi to John, and I go, John,
Right.
say hi to Jake. I
Okay.
thought about it.
So maybe
We
we
could
try either overlap the lesson
Yeah,
or
we
just,
Put them together.
right,
Yeah.
maybe keep Jake 15 minutes longer and bring John in 15 minutes earlier, maybe just use that little bit of time,
Yeah, we could try that.
right?
I think that'd be nice because John comes like, I think he comes twice a week, so he could do like one by himself and then one with
Okay.
Jake, and then same thing with Jake. You could have one by himself, one with John.
And two, I have a habit of wanting to go from 0 to 90.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be wise to just have them be in this room together.
Yeah.
Would John do like freestyle kind of?
Yeah.
Does he like that?
Oh yeah, he'll shake it.
So right, so maybe we just start with that. We put
Yeah.
one song on at the end of Jake's and get John in,
Yeah.
and then let them just be here together.
Yeah. We could
Because
try
we did try this with ballroom. The woman that
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this with, her daughter came from Jersey, and we had them go to ballroom together. But different teacher, different day, everything was different.
different.
And you know, I just said, oh yeah, they can both dance, so let's just put them together and they can dance together.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go that well. They did dance a little bit together, which was great. So that would lead me to say,
I don't think that would be a problem. I think they would be fine.
okay, so that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to try that.
We could
Good.
definitely try that.
Great. And I'm glad, I didn't know you had that many
Yeah, it
students.
just ended up being like that group ended up happening just because a few girls needed to move their day and time, and I was like, well, I have this slot. I mean, I can ask the mom if they want to be together, and so we do a full hour with the 3 of them, and it's really nice.
That's great. I love
But
that.
yeah, I have like 10 students now, and
Right.
I don't advertise it. I don't post about it. Like it's really just
Right,
word of
just
mouth, or
kinda
through
happens
ISS,
and-
or through ACDS, and the brokers, and that's really it.
Right, which is fabulous, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because he loves
He's always so
coming
happy
here,
here.
and you've been awesome with him. So
Thank you.
thank you.
He's really come such a long way too. He
Right,
does a lot. We do a lot. We
right,
go across the floor, we warm up, we stretch, we cool down, we do our dots, we do our cones, we learn to dance.
right, so it's a
He
lot.
does a lot.
Now, what I did, oh, my phone's over there, so I was gonna say, let me show you the back of my phone. So the spelling, now I don't think you've seen him do it,
No,
but
but
you've
I've heard about
it.
it.
So what do you think of that? Like, have you heard what he can do, what he can say through that?
A little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, Ronnie had told me once that he had said something about like the love of his life
mm-hmm.
through letters.
He's always talking about girls and wanting girlfriends.
And I was like, wait,
RJ?
he like kind of express it like that? Like that's amazing. I've never seen him do it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I've heard of him.
All right, shame on me because I should have you exposed more to it, but he is just telling us so much about his life and what it's been like to have autism and things he wants to do and not do.
Wow.
And I will send you, I'll text you a couple of, like, I write down everything he does in a session, so I can send it to you. You're not gonna believe what
I would
he's
love to see
capable
what he
of.
says.
So, that being said, I want you to see it and then, God bless you, and then I want to ask you some more questions again because you're gonna see him very differently.
Really?
Because even for me, even being his mom, you know, what I thought he could understand and not understand versus what I now know.
Right.
I mean, I see him totally different.
Wow.
So,
It's crazy how he can communicate like that.
Right, he may not be able to verbalize it, but he can
That's
spell it
insane.
on the board, like it's just a 8.5 by 11 board with the alphabet. So he can point to each letter and
Wow.
spell
That's
every.
like brilliant. That's like
It,
hard.
it really is, and he can also write, so sometimes if I can't get him to spell it with me,
He'll write it.
he'll write things down.
Right.
So, yeah, like, we had an opening for an RPM session for next week,
Mhm.
and, but he usually has ballroom, so I thought I said, you wanna do RPM with Kyle or a dance with Debbie? And he picked Debbie, and I said, all right, I thought he would pick RPM, so I waited, and I asked him again later, and he still said Debbie, and then I wrote it down, and he still picked Debbie, so I said, okay, that, I'm 100%, that's what you want.
Right.
So again, the real purpose of this documentary, besides the whole dance side of it, is to try to show people that don't think they understand,
They do.
that if they can understand learning the cha-cha slide or whatever steps you do with them, he can certainly, you can't say he can't do this spelling.
Right.
If he can do this, he can do this.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're trying to get out there to people, but I'm telling you, you are gonna be amazed. That I can't believe you haven't seen it or we haven't
Honestly,
showed
he's
you.
probably one of the smartest people that I know.
Okay.
Of the people that I work with.
That you work with.
There
yeah.
are some people that just have like no like manners. Like he has manners.
He does.
He has social awareness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a girl that like she'll like sneeze in her hands, or she'll put her foot on my mirror to tie her shoe, or just like there's the things that a mother should have taught, like regardless of if you have autism or not.
Right.
Like you have to teach them to not sneeze in their hand, or like don't put your foot on a mirror, or pull up your pants.
Right. I mean, in defense of the mom,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've tried to teach Jake certain things. I mean, he knows to get a tissue when he sneezes, but he'll often not get a tissue or not sneeze into his arm, not because I didn't teach him, but just because it just doesn't, it's almost like I can teach him to do something really difficult, yet walking in a room and saying hello,
It's hard.
I often have to remind him,
Right.
Jake, say hi to Jessica.
Right.
Or you have to go and stand right in front of him,
Uh-huh.
and if you stand there and don't move, he'll get that, okay, I need to say hello.
Right.
But then meanwhile, he can do all of these other, you know, he plays piano.
Yeah.
I mean, he can play
Right.
Beethoven on a piano, yet it's difficult for him to say hello walking into a room.
No, I get that too.
But I do
But she's a
understand.
little more high functioning, so like, I guess I just feel like I expect more of her.
Yeah, and you do, but don't be surprised, because often people will do more for somebody, you'll learn this with your own child. They'll do more for a teacher than they will for their mom.
Right.
So like if you say to her, okay, when you sneeze, you have to,
Right.
you know, whatever, sneeze at your elbow, get a tissue, blah, blah, blah. She might do it because you're asking her or telling her
Right.
versus her mom. Or is she just, it just may not process into what you want her, you know, the outcome that you want. But again, it all depends on the kid. If it's a brain disconnecting, you know, brain, she's like, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do, but my body's just not going there,
Yeah.
you know. But
Interesting.
yeah, there's so much to learn, you know.
I'm still learning.
And these guys, like every one of them, they may have some similarities, but every one of them is so different.
Right.
You know, so right, you find something that works for this person, and then you try it with the other one, and you get nothing.
Right.
You know, so we just keep trying,
Yeah.
right? That's what I say. Oh, good, thank you.
Of course.
I really appreciate it. And I'll keep you posted on, you know, so we're doing interviews. We did ballroom. I want to talk to the art instructor, his karate teacher, and just, you know, try to get a really good sense of how people are seeing him. And then anyone that hasn't been introduced to the spelling, I would like to, maybe I could bring somebody here.
Yeah.
So like during his, or if you, I know you're so busy, but if you ever have time, maybe you could come to one of his sessions. That's really the best way for you to see what he does.
Where are
He goes to one in Seaford,
Okay.
Thursday mornings.
they? Okay.
I don't know if you're,
I would just need to find a sitter.
okay,
I think that would be fine.
all right, that would be excellent. Let me know. I'll text you just to remind you, and then, yeah, it's like a half hour.
Okay.
So, or even like if your mom came and could sit in the car with the baby for a half hour.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Alright,
just do
yeah,
that.
that'd be so
All right,
cool. I would love to see
yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.